Hello, and welcome to the We Are Saving Lives Heroes panel. My name is Drew Brown. I'm one of the regional communications managers with the American Red Cross Illinois region. For the past few months, I've had the pleasure of sharing our Red Cross heroes' inspiring stories, and today you get to hear from them. Now, you may already seen a snippet of it, but let's hear from them firsthand. Let's start with Kyla Davis.
Thanks, Drew. On August 27th, while parking my car in my friend's condominium lot, I witnessed a woman run into the parking lot screaming out for help. As I looked over, a guy was standing over her. As I yelled out for him to stop, I witnessed that he had a knife in his hand and stood over her with the knife. I got back in my car and called the police. As I called the police, I gave them a description of everything that they were wearing and of my location. As I'm on the phone with the police, the guy starts walking with the woman to his car with the knife now held at her side. I followed them in the parking lot and I witnessed him trying to force her in the back of the SUV at knife point as well. As I'm riding around now, circling back to go to my parking lot, already giving the operator my the license plate number, I witnessed a woman escape the car and now run towards my car yelling out for help. I slowed down and reached over and opened my passenger side door and let her into my car. As I did that, she got into the car and the guy ran behind her, now trying to pull into my car door and get in my car as well. Unable to enter my car, I now flew out of the parking lot in my car and he got into his SUV, following us in traffic. As he followed us in traffic, he hit two other cars and did two hit and runs on two other vehicles. And somehow, some way, we were able to get away from him and meet up with the police. As we met up with the police, we were able to go. The woman was checked out. She had a few bruises and scrapes, but she was okay. They then took her to the hospital and took me back to the apartment complex. There, they let me know that as worried as I was about my safety and the guy and where he was, I had nothing to be worried about because the guy had committed suicide. And furthermore, I learned that the guy told the woman that he planned on killing himself, her, and then himself.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing, Kyla. And here's our next hero, Roger King.
Me and my wife and our grandkids was out, it was before Christmas, was driving around looking at Christmas lights. And we happened to drive by a house and saw flames in the window. There was a couple other people in the front yard. And my wife yelled out, she goes, "Hey, I know who lives here." And she's an elderly woman. So we stopped the car. I jumped out and talked to them about what was going on. One of the guys was on the phone to the fire department. And so I went up and banged on the door, and they were both upstairs in bed. And the caregiver came down and opened the door. And I asked if there's somebody else in the house, and she said yes. And I said, "Well, we need to get her out. We need to get everybody out." So she went up the stairs to get the elderly lady, and I followed her up and helped them down the stairs and out of the house. It was pretty smoky. The smoke was just starting to go up the stairs. So we got them out of the house. It was before Christmas, so it was cold out. So we put them in our vehicle and waited for the fire department to show up.
Thank you so much, Roger. And here's our next hero, Josh Raley.
I was coming home from my birthday dinner I had, and we were coming along the road, and we saw a car sitting on the median, and we were just kind of confused. Then we decided to investigate a little further, and I drove around to the other side of the car and parked, and then I noticed that it was dripping fire. So I got out, headed towards the car, and a lady fell out of the passenger seat, and she couldn't walk at all because she apparently had broken a leg, and she was screaming for help, saying that her baby was still in the car. So I went to get the baby out of the car, and it was so filled with smoke I couldn't see anything, and I had to cut the airbag open, and I checked the first seat, didn't find anything. Second back seat, didn't feel anything, and I found the baby in the carrier wedged between the driver and passenger seat, and I pulled the baby out, and by the time I looked back, the car was a ball of flames.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing, Josh. And finally, Jerry Lee, can you tell the audience a little bit about your story?
Well, I was walking down to the bus stop as I was leaving my house. Got to my bus stop, was going to get on a bus to go to the gym, and I heard a lady yell for help, help. I looked around and no one was there. Then I heard help, help again. Then I looked around and I went around the doors to check the shit was locked, and there wasn't. So I called 911. I was like, "There's a lady that, in her house that fell," I think, and I stayed on the phone with 911 to dispatch her until the police officer got there in the ambulance, the AMT, and that's when they told me that she had fell an hour ago before I got there.
Thank you, Jerry Lee, and thank you all for sharing these amazing stories. I'm sure the audience is inspired. And looking back, Jerry Lee, when was the moment that you knew you had to jump in to help?
When I realized that I heard someone yelling for help out loud, and I had to jump in and save this lady or she would die. She would have died if no one would have helped her.
Do you wish you had any previous training to help in this situation?
I just thought God always sent me in the right direction to help because I had experience with my grandmother was the same age as her, but I always come to help.
Thank you, Jerry Lee. And Josh, the same question. What moment did you know that you wanted to jump in and help?
At first, I wasn't even sure if anybody was in the car, but as soon as the passenger door opened, I realized I should get over there and help out.
Did you have any previous experience when it came to life-saving or anything like that?
I've worked as a CNA for a couple of years. I had some pretty critical situations arise, but nothing in this manner.
Thank you, Josh. And Kyla, that was a very intense situation when you helped that woman. What moment did you know you needed to jump in to try and help her?
Yeah, I think that on behalf of myself and the rest of the panel members, we can all come to terms with the fact that we see someone else, human life, needing help. And that's the moment that we all stepped in and realized we had to do something, seeing someone else in distress or in pain or calling out for help. In that moment, I stepped up and knew I had to do something, if anything, to help.
In that moment, did you have any reservations or your instinct just kicked in? Let me help this woman.
Instinct just kicked in. It wasn't a second thought to this day about helping her.
Wonderful, Kyla. And Roger, when did you know that you were going to help during that situation?
Oh, as soon as we pulled up in front of the house and saw the flames in the front window of the house, you knew you had to do something. You had to make sure that everybody was safe.
And were you hesitant, or did you just see something and you said, I have to do something?
No, I didn't think about it, didn't hesitate. The caregiver opened the door. I stepped in. I could see where the flames were and the smoke going up the stairs. You know, it wasn't really anything you thought about. You just stepped in and did what you had to do to save somebody's life.
And all of these events you all went through, they happened just on any other day. It's been so inspiring to talk to you all today. And Kyla, if you had one piece of advice to give someone out there, what would you say?
My advice to anybody witnessing a domestic violence situation would be to, if you see something, say something. You yelling out help, you calling the police, and just acknowledging that you see something wrong taking place can help save someone's life.
And then Kyla, you've been listening to all these stories. You all are life-saving heroes. How does it feel to hear the other three stories?
It's amazing. You know, it gives me hope that there are good people in the world. You know, everybody keeps telling me what I did was so random and I'm a hero, but there are good people in this world that see something wrong happening and they step up and do their part.
And Roger, the same question for you. You're a part of this heroes class with so many life-saving heroes, and you all are here today hearing from each other. Kind of, how does that make you feel hearing the other stories?
Oh, pretty overwhelmed. I mean, you never really think it's going to happen to you. You see it on TV all the time. You never think it's going to happen to you, but you just need to pay attention and go the extra mile. And you never know whose life you're going to save. And it's inspiring to hear the other people's stories of what they did. And I don't consider myself a hero. I consider myself somebody who just did the right thing at the right time.
Thank you, Roger. And Josh, you told us you were just coming from dinner. You're the gentleman who saved a baby from a burning car. Is it kind of surreal that people are honoring you as a hero, or you just see yourself as, I'm just Josh?
Yeah, I just see me as doing anything anyone else would do. If something's out of place or something's wrong, just there to help if I can.
And Jerry Lee, how does it feel to hear all these other hero stories today?
It felt good. Everybody has their own opinion on how to help people. It just inspired me to help other people out in need.
And Josh, looking back, has your life changed since the incident?
Not really, to be honest. Other than people telling me I'm a hero, I just tell them I was doing what's right.
Jerry Lee, looking back on what you did to help save that woman and calling 911, how has your life changed since then?
It changed big because when we save it, like when someone saves your life, it means a big deal.
Thank you so much, Jerry Lee. Kyla, looking back, we see incidents like yours that happen in movies or on the news. How has your life changed since then?
Since the incident happened, as far as life changing, like immediately after the incident, I was there to do a friend's hair. So immediately after the incident happened, I went to my friend's house, started doing her hair, and it took me a few hours for it to kick in. And like, this actually just happened. Like, Kyla, take a step back and realize like what you just did. The significance of it's heavy, it's very strong. I still don't sit back and call myself a hero or a lifesaver. But as far as life changing, it opened my eyes to the fact that, you know, domestic violence occurs if it's women or men or kids or, you know, adults and different ethnicities. It doesn't matter who you are. A person can be going through something, you never know. The woman that I helped bring to rescue, she had been going through that. She'd been broken up with that guy for, I believe, like 8 months and had been in the house with him the whole night prior. And no one knew what was going on until she was actually outside and tried to run away for help. So as far as life changing, it just opened my eyes to the fact that it can occur to anyone and it can happen to anyone. So just like I said, keep your eyes open and be aware of your surroundings.
Thank you so much, Kyla. And Roger, looking back, we hear about fires happening almost every day. How has your life changed since the fire and that incident saving that person's life?
Oh, it just makes you a little bit more aware of your surroundings. I mean, before I never really thought about it much. It's always something happens to other people. You see it on TV, but you don't expect it to happen to you. And once it happens to you, it kind of makes you a little bit more aware of your surroundings. I've had a lot of people congratulate me for being a hero. Like I said, I don't consider myself a hero. I just feel like I did the right thing at the right time. But people ought to pay attention. You know, I saved somebody's grandmother, somebody's mother, somebody's sister. And who knows, that could all be turned around. Somebody could save my sister, my mother, or, you know, my grandkids. It just, you never know what's going to happen. So you just need to kind of pay a little bit more attention.
Thank you so much, Roger. Thank you all again today for joining us and sharing your amazing stories. I'm sure the audience is inspired. And also thank you to our audience for listening today. And please sit tight and we'll direct you back to the Maine Heroes event.